Look, everybody, there are prosumers and there are consumers. Let's talk about it. All right, about 2 weeks ago, I talked to one of the Microsoft employees, and he was going on vacation and decided to let me check out the Surface Duo. I was really excited about it, and to this day, I still am. But one of the main things I wanted to talk about was the reviews and the outlook on what this kind of device is and where everyone's missing the future. Now, after watching a great video from Scary If Literal, you guys just look him up on Google. He's done a bunch of videos on this thing, and how he broke it down talking about prosumers, which is something I've talked about before, not in any of these videos, but just in my lifestyle and what I do for a living, and trying to segment and divert and look at products differently from what a standard person would. And that way we can target it toward the people that actually need to be spending their money on it. And there's a big difference between a consumer and a prosumer. A consumer is the standard person that's just coming in, hey, look, I need a new phone, I need a new laptop, looking for the Xbox, can I get a pre-built PC? I just need a 55-inch TV so I can watch Netflix on it. They're just, the everyday person, right? They go in, hey, look, my buddy has this, my friend has that, on Facebook I saw this, I had an HP before, I had a Samsung before, whatever it is, and they continue to buy that product. Then there are some consumers that do a little research, much less of them, and then they make each decision on that, right? The majority of people are in the first part I was talking about, where they're just like, somebody has this, I want it, or I had this before and I would just want another one. And sometimes even if they had a bad experience. And then there's some people that had a bad experience and blame that one experience on that whole company being bad, which we know these huge multi-billion-dollar companies wouldn't be around if their products were as bad as sometimes some people say. But coming down to the Microsoft Duo, which I am a big fan of, and I'm going to give some feedback on and talk about some of the reviews that are out there about this and why some are right and some are wrong. It's not perfect. It should have been delayed. It came out in 2020. It is new technology, a new outlook on how phones should look. But in reality, it wasn't targeting you. It wasn't targeting me. It was targeting people that wanted to be heavily productive, do something a little different, and expand on the Surface line. Years ago when the Surface Pro came out, people were like, what are you talking about? Nobody wants a tablet you can't put a full computer in a tablet. You can't do it. There's not enough power in there. Nobody wants to write. Nobody wants to touch on their devices. Windows 8 was a total mess, right? And the first couple Surface lines, things just didn't go well. They had the Surface Windows RT. That was a total train wreck. But yet the Surface is still around. And now they're expanding it. You got the Surface Go. You got the Surface Laptop. You got the Surface Pro. You got the Duo. You got the Book. You got it goes on and on. The Studio, which is a whole nother conversation, and go from there. And they're not super popular. They make beautiful, beautiful devices, who I'm a huge advocate of. I think if anyone's going to buy a laptop for school or for work, they should be basically walking up to the Surface table and figuring out which one they should get. But should you buy a Surface Duo? And the answer is no. I love it. It took me about 48 hours to get used to the whole flip, the super wide aspect ratio of it, being able to use it like this, and you can kind of see how it kind of opens and closes. I actually opened up the flashlight in my eye because they put it here because they wanted it super thin. Because if you put it like this, it's still pretty much as thin as a phone. Standard phone is about as thin as that phone over there. It has 100% DCI P3 color gamut. So the color quality on this thing is absolutely amazing. Most apps see it as a tablet, but there's some glitch here and there. Sometimes when I open up apps, they'll open up in the middle. It's not doing it right now, but sometimes it does do it. Like it'll open up in the center. And then sometimes, like for example, it won't move as quickly. It's actually doing a really good job right now, but sometimes there's some glitches. But this is still Windows 10. Windows 10. This is still Android 10. Android 11 is what's designed for these dual screened, expandable screens and all the new stuff that's coming in 2021 and beyond. And it's not on here yet, so I can't give you a full review on this like I would want to. What I can tell you is the camera is not very good, but that's You don't buy this device for a camera. It goes back to the prosumer side of things. This is made for productivity. This is made for people that want to do 2 apps at once. People that want to be a little different. People like myself who have really like this wider screen. Because when I'm texting somebody, uh-oh, I just killed the battery. All right. Yeah, it's dead now. All right. So when you're typing on it, you can actually type like this. And that's basically one of my biggest pieces of feedback for you, Microsoft, and for you people in general. I'm going to tell you, if you buy it, you're not going to love it as soon as you open it. It's going to be finicky, not like the phone that I'm recording, which is my OnePlus 7T that has that 90 hertz display that I just went, oh my God, I love these things, right? You saw this instant impact. It's the exact opposite because it's kind of finicky. At first, you're kind of like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. It's made out of glass. It should be the magnesium that they use on their surfaces, if you ask me, because they didn't do wireless charging. It is a Snapdragon 855 with 6 gigs of RAM. Seriously, 855 is more than enough. These companies keep fighting about, I got a faster processor. Realistically, you're not going to see the difference. It's just it's just for advertising and marketing, just like all this other stuff. Just like the screen speeds and stuff like that. It's more important for you to have a good screen than it is to have the newest processor, because realistically, as you can see in reviews on 765G processors, phones like the Pixel 5, the Nord, it's more than fast enough for day-to-day use. Most people are not trying to multitask. Now, this device in general is a beta test. Let's be realistic. This is a beta test. And it's a pass. I give it a big pass. I'm a big fan for the target market. So when you look at the Surface Duo, and everybody's like, well, don't look at it as a failure. Like the original Surface, it's a foray into the future. And if you ask me, based off from a person I've messed with the flips, I've messed with the folds, this is way better looking. It's much thinner. It makes more sense from day-to-day use. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful device. It feels great in my pocket. It feels great to type on, even though I never put a SIM card in here. So I was constantly going between my phone that I'm filming on right now for texting and then everything else I was doing on this. Everything. If I was listening to music in the car, I used the phone I'm filming on. If I filmed on this one, except for the previous video when I talked about tech and the shortages, that was filmed on this. That kind of shows you how much better using the OnePlus 7T with the Gcam mod is so much better, at least from what I'm seeing right now. But if you really find these for the $700 to $1,000 and you're going to use the pen, you're a multitasker, or you're like me and you just like to go against the grain and do things differently, you're the person with the OnePlus, gaming on Linux, sporting a Fitbit Versa, you know what I mean? And just going against the grain, hey, look, this is a way to do it. And to be honest with you, I would consider keeping it. But realistically, for what I really want as a user is I want Microsoft to take this and make a second option that's not foldable, but this aspect ratio. I want them to make it a little bit thicker, because this is one of the reasons why it has such a huge bezel, is how thin it is. So they spread everything out between the two sides. There's actually 2 batteries in here. And then this wiring here is inside of here. It's smaller, about as small as a strand of hair, which is where the price really comes in. These 2 DCI-P3 displays, it being a Surface, and that new technology that lets it go back and forth. But you make this slightly thicker, and you do 1 display for the baseline. But you keep this 3:2 aspect ratio, which what's really cool about that is that, I would show you, but it died. It makes this seem like a tablet. So YouTube is absolutely amazing on it because I can literally do multiple things at once. Split screening is better. Watching video on the side is better. Like literally I can put this on tip mode and watch a video. Bluetooth is fantastic. It has Bluetooth 5. Everything I love about it. There's not a lot of cases, so I'm always worried about dropping it. So right now I'm kind of like right over top of my table, holding it pretty tightly because I don't want to drop it because it is glass and it is $1,500 brand new, or $1,400. And there are reports that some people have found it for $700. If you can get this thing for $700, I still can't recommend it because, to be honest with you, I don't recommend any phone over $500. This is what I paid for my OnePlus. You can get a OnePlus 7T for $400. How in the world could I recommend any phone over $400? It has 855 plus, 8 gigs of RAM, 90 hertz display. I don't understand how I could ever recommend anything over $400. However, as I said a few minutes ago, if you want to go against the grain, you want to be a little different, you kind of like things that are just a little different, cool, you don't mind spending a little extra money, you get a really good deal on this, go for it. It's amazing. But always remember, it's going to take a little bit to understand it. There are some big changes coming with Android 11, which I wouldn't recommend it till Android 11 regardless of price. And I really hope that I can get a hold of this again after I get this back once Android 11 is out and test it. But realistically, after watching Scary If Little's video and getting his perspective on it and watching these other reviews where it's like, oh my God, it's a mess, it has a bad camera. It's $1,000 phone with a bad camera. Just because the other phones that are $1,000 target the camera, and this phone is at $1,300 and talks about productivity, doesn't mean that you need to compare them based on their camera. It doesn't make any sense. That's not even what this is for. This is not for you. This is not for me. This is for the person that's going to take advantage of productivity. You can't even magnet the pen to the side. I tried. Well, it'll magnet here for a second, but it'll fall right off. This is a person that wants to be productive, might even have 2 phones and a computer, realistically, and have this for certain use. Maybe this is their business phone, personal phone like we have here, and a laptop or a computer that they use for day-to-day use. But check it out. When you go to your, go walk into a store, a Microsoft store, if you're lucky enough to be near the 4 Microsoft stores that are still open, a Best Buy. Check it out. Mess with it. You can also comment. I might even go a little bit further on this if I have a little bit longer and you guys have some questions about it. But it's absolutely amazing. I'm not a reviewer, so this isn't really a full review. But I'm going to say I've really enjoyed using it. I would keep it if it was cheap enough. And hopefully with it being DCI-P3, it'll eventually get Netflix's HDR compatibility, because it's not HDR, which doesn't make any sense to record in HDR. It has a DCI-P3 100%, but it can't do HDR, so I feel like there could be a firmware update to brighten it a little bit, the screen brightness, that way you can get HDR, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, the screen's still amazing, and you're not getting it on anything that's not is going to check for an HDR rating, because I can look at videos, I can look at photos that are on standard HDR, like not Netflix, and it looks amazing. And it still looks amazing on a Netflix, but when you click it, it does 1080p non-HDR. I don't understand it. Anyways, y'all have any comments, questions, any information you guys want to talk about it? Also, check out Scary If Literal. He did a great job reviewing this and talking about how people should be looking at this device or these foldable devices differently than standard phones. It also makes me want people to look at that stuff to think twice when they actually look at a phone. Do you really need a Note? Do you really need a folding phone? Do you really need the $1,000 iPhone just because of the better camera? Realistically, get an iPhone SE, get a Nexus, almost a Nexus, a Nord, a OnePlus, an A-series Samsung, a year-old phone, because most of the time you get a phone that's a year old, this OnePlus, you save hundreds and hundreds of dollars, get the same specs. That's my recommendation, but let me know what other information you guys want. More coming soon. Take care of yourselves, and see you soon.